viewers, welcome to etcfo.com. etcfo.com in collaboration with Clear is organizing this roundtable discussion on connected finance ecosystem, a catalyzer in the enterprise growth wheel. For this, we are joined by 4 eminent CFOs and one technology leader. Without much ado, let me introduce you to them. To start with, we have Mr. Manish Ojha. He's CFO Amul Dairy. Hi, Manish.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Next, we have Mr. Indrajit Bose. He's CFO Apotex Research. Hi, Indrajit.
Hi, Manu.
Yeah.
Hi,
Hi.
Manish.
Hi.
We have Mr. Mahendra Chajar. He's CFO Graphite India. Hi, Mahendra.
Hi, Manu, and good afternoon to everybody.
Good afternoon.
Next, we have Mr. Nanda Kumar S. Tirumalai. He's CFO at Tata Chemicals. Hi, Nandu.
Hi, Manu. Good afternoon to all.
Good
Yeah,
afternoon.
great.
Good afternoon.
And last but not the least, we have a technology leader. He's Rohit Lodha. He's Associate Director at Clear. He's Enterprise Business at Clear. So, hi, Rohit.
Hi, good afternoon to all.
Good afternoon.
Great.
Good afternoon.
Great. Good, happy faces, smiling faces all over. Good to see that, and excited to start this discussion. So let me start with, of course, the finance leaders first. And Nandu, if we can start with you first.
Sure.
What is the best way to define this connected finance ecosystem from a CFO's lens?
See, I would say it should be more like a holistic and IT-driven approach that leverages data, automation, collaboration, agility, risk management to optimize financial operations, enhance decision-making, and drive value creation. So basically, it's a holistic approach to ultimately drive value for the business.
Okay, that's brevity is the soul of it, and you have used your absolute brevity to answer this question. Let me have quick views from Manish for his quick perspective on what does he think about the connected finance ecosystem. Yeah.
Thanks, Manu. Actually, Manu, in my view, the connected finance ecosystem is basically a system. And what is the system? We need to understand the first. So basically, the system is interdependent and interrelated units, which seems to work independently, but looks like one from the outside, and which are working together for a common goal. Is a system, like human body is a system. Now, coming to the connected finance system is concerned. So basically, in my view, and as by my definition and my understanding, it is a connected finance ecosystem, means an overarching framework comprising of the systems, financial processes, business processes, and even stakeholders and data across the organization to create a unique and uniform view of financial performance of the organization. And here, not only the data of the finance, but data of the other departments becomes very important, and it may impact the decision of the CFO also from CFO point of view. So, Manu, if you compare the period prior to 2000, where the computers were not there, ERP was not in the place, the role of CFO was just to make the books of account, just to do fundraising or do the compliance, etc., etc. But nowadays, where ERPs are in place, computers are in place, and entire ecosystem is in place, lot of expectations has been increased from the CFO now. Now, CFO have been involved for the purpose of the strategic business decisions also. And not many things are expected from the CFO. So ultimately, it's a totally connected system for the purpose of the proper decision making. And the the reason for this ecosystem is only to take the quick decisions at right time, adding the value to the organization, and also to have a broader view of the for future growth. And this is all about the ecosystem.
Okay, that's a very comprehensive way to put it. Indujyoti, what are your thoughts on the connected finance ecosystem? What's the best way to describe that?
Manu, as Manish, my co-panelist, has already said, that there's no single definition which you can, express your overall thoughts about the connected ecosystem of finance. I mean, see, first of all, your business priorities will be top of the notch, because without that, you will not be able to do justice to the organization as such. second, which is also important, is taking all stakeholders and form a well-balancing approach so that every other stakeholders, whether it is the investors, the bankers, the suppliers, the customers, the employees, even the third parties who are dependent on you, will have to be knitted together to have a overall approach to the framework, so that each and every one is well connected. Agility is the key. The third point, agility of the finance function is the key. And in today's world, a finance, a CFO cannot really think without putting himself in the shoes of a CIO, because what CIO is thinking about the finance function, one is to think from his angle as far as the technology is concerned, ERP is concerned, implementation of ERP is concerned, advanced data analytics, and everything to be taken forward. Because today it is more from the technology front rather than only books and papers and registers, maintaining documents and maintaining all the statutory formalities. Third, or rather fourth, you need to also think from the ESG perspective, so that proper value creation is there for the organization, so that if the value is created from all aspects, it will help not only the finance function, but overall the organization. So ESG is also a vital component according to me.
Business priorities, all stakeholders have to be there. Agility, automation, and ESG. A lot of things you mentioned in the Jyoti. Mahendra, let me have your quick perspective on the best way to describe.
Well, I think my co-panelists have already covered everything. I don't have any fresh input on that, but even for the sake of repetition, I will tell that in today's world, CFOs are no longer bhai khata wala babus, as we had termed a few years back. As a junior, I will go with my personal approach. As a junior member of team, I had seen that the only expectation from the top management from us was to draw accounts and arrange the finances depending on the requirement of organizations. But now that has undergone completely changed, and our domain has stretched outside the finances and accounts border now. In this, and I will tell, in this VUCA, every organization has to prepare itself for all the complexities and uncertainties to remain in existence and to thrive further. So in my view, for every organization, and we know that in every organization, for every strategic decision or any decision have its financial implications. So as a CFO, we all must know what is prevailing in the organization, in all the functions, across all the functions, as well as what is happening outside the outside world. So we must be equipped with tech tools or which can give us an integrated system, which can provide us timely and correct inputs for that. I will give some examples, maybe environment, business environment, ESG aspect, forex, interest rates, etc., to tell a few. On this, we need an integrated system which can give us those data in a very accurate and timely manner. So personally, I feel data relating to all across the functions like sales, purchase, production, MIS, budgeting, treasury, forex, finance, all needs an integration and should be available to a CFO to take an appropriate decision for the organization.
Okay, and that's a lot of beautiful definitions, not one, but cutting across to define the best way to describe the connected finance ecosystem. But we have Rohit now, who is providing tools, providing solutions to the CFOs day in, day out, speaking to the CFOs. Rohit, what is your sense of the connected finance ecosystem?
I think pretty much all the CFOs here have covered their views 99.999% already covered over here. I can just add a few of my conversations with the CFO, which I was there, right? So today, if you see, every organization wants to build a entire platform wherein you get the, as Indrajit sir said, like you get the bank, you get the supplier, you get the customer, you get the investor, and you get all sorts of necessary ecosystem, right? The entire ecosystem. So say suppose your supplier wants early payments and your bank is on that particular platform, he can arrange for a vendor financing or a PO based financing and so on and so forth, wherein the benefit gets to the vendor, right? Similarly for the customer, where you want an invoice financing on an early payment, and when the bank is also on the same platform, you get an early payment. Depending upon the IRR, there is also a discount percentage. It's a win-win kind of a situation. Now, in the same ecosystem, when the suppliers are onboarded, and we talked about the taxes, right? Having a compliant ecosystem saves close to about 8 to 10% of company's working capital. So that also forms part that how my vendors are compliant, what is my compliance best to the customers, and how can we leverage so that there is a very minimal kind of an impact on my working capital. So that's the best way I will see that this is the entire connected ecosystem. Not necessary that everything can be in one platform. As an organization, I be the platform who connect different customers, suppliers, investors, and all that. So that's my vision, that my company be that particular platform wherein I can arrange resources, I can deliver results as required.
Yeah, so that sums up the overall views from both the CFOs and the technology perspective. But before we proceed forward, I have a quick request to our audience, live audience, that please feel free to ask your questions to the august panel that we have. We would be really happy to take them, here only. So the audience, the panelists, let's talk about the challenges here and the risk, when it comes to implementation of a connected finance ecosystem. So I'll start with you, Nandu, again. What are the key risks and the challenges, that you foresee while implementing the solutions as a CFO for this connected ecosystem, the connected finance ecosystem?
Sure, Manu. So it's like this, you would have heard about this saying that most M&As fail. Similarly, IT systems also, most of them are bought for the company, but don't get used completely, So most IT systems are purchased with a lot of, noise, but when they actually implemented, we don't use half systems. It's like buying a smartphone, which is there, only using it for SMS and calls. So I would say avoid this pitfall in terms of investing in a tool. What one must look for is in terms of, is the IT tool which is there, what are the features, functionality? Is it scalable? Is it flexible? Is it user friendly? Is there integration with your main systems possible or not possible? How reliable is it? How is security of the system being there? Who is the vendor? How is he going to support the system going forward? How good or how bad is he? What is the user feedback on the talk to other people who have bought software, take the feedback from them, and how is the system working for them? Ultimately, is this good for the future? Looking at all these parameters, one must look at every aspect of this in terms of what I mentioned now to ensure that the IT systems bought are used by the users properly and used completely, because it's a waste of money paying crores of rupees for a software which is not used properly beyond a point in time. So I think also education is important. Once the system is bought over, there should be educating the users constantly by both the vendor and the IT department on what it can do, because buying is a big event. After that, is it being used? And therefore, the feedback must go back to the CFO and CEO on all systems being used. Are they being used properly? And give a percentage. This system, we're using 10%, this 20%, so that one can then deploy resources to ensure that what you're paid for is actually being used for. So all these things one should do, Manu, in my view.
Okay, well, lots of questions that the CFO must ask himself while implementing those solutions. What is your view on the challenges and the risk, Manish, if I can come to you?
Manu, my system was dropped for a few times, so I could not hear. Will you please repeat the question?
Yeah, sure, Manish. So I just wanted to know your quick thoughts on the challenges and the risk when it comes to implementing the solutions for the connected finance ecosystem.
Okay. Manu, there are a lot of challenges in the connecting finance system, and there are some of those are like technology expertise, because you may have a team with the technology expertise, or you may not have the team with the technology expertise. So first, to get the technology expertise in place, it becomes a very big challenge. Number one. Number two, if I talk about latest analytics should be available, as rightly said by Nand. Whatever the smartphone is there, how you are using, what technology which you are using. So latest analytics are used. It has to be ensured by the organization, so that the results can be, we can get the results properly and quickly and accurately. Number three, if I talk about change management, that becomes a very important thing. If we are going to transform from here to a particular creating an ecosystem, a resistance is created all over. So a mindset of everybody has to be changed. Then only this can be successful. Otherwise, if you do not change the mindset of the person, the people will accept it, and ultimately it will be a failure of the entire ecosystem. And least and last, strategic thinking. Many times what happens, we just go into the ecosystem implementation, and later we come to know, okay, for what purpose it was to be implemented, and we have not achieved that purpose. So purposefully, we have to take all the teams in the loop. We should have a clear vision in our mind what exactly has to be done. Then it should be implemented. But if you don't take care of all these, your entire investment will be a waste in times to come, and definitely you will be in big trouble. So these are the basic challenges which a CFO or which a person or organization really faces, and it has to be addressed before doing anything. And these are the major risks as far as my concern is there.
Let me have quick thoughts from Indra Jyoti in terms of the challenges. You want to add on what the speakers already shared?
Putting yourself in mute itself is a challenge. So, so what I'd say that yes, I agree with what my esteemed panelist Manish and Nandkumar said. Yes, there are challenges. Technology is a challenge, first of all, and choosing a right technology which will suit. I mean, just because I have money, I go for an extensive buyout, and then it is of no work, and which Nandkumar has rightly said doesn't make any sense. This obviously is a challenge. Second is, where exactly you are located. You need to also think from that perspective, that where exactly you are located, whether that type of investment will really give you, enough leverage in the market. And third, which is also important, is what type of approach do you have for your customers? Because your customer is all the time and 100%. 24/7, they are watching you, that what's your reaction and how you are doing, what's the investment you are doing. That will give enormous amount of confidence to your customers that, okay, so if I want to do a transaction with this particular company, I will get these many values, these many backups, these many systems in place. So I am well pleased with this. And I think these are the few areas where people, if can really focus on, things will definitely have a brighter side.
Okay, and Mahindra, what's your view on the list of challenges that you foresee in implementing the solutions for the connected finance ecosystem?
See, to my mind, the biggest challenge is the mindset to change. If we go down the line, we know we had a resistance to go for the computer itself. Then we started using Lotus, Winword, etc. Then it also changed to Windows. We came to Windows. We had another round of uncertainty whether we will be able to do that or not. We finally succeeded. Then there was much hoopla about the ERP systems again. And there were many myths around that and in our organization itself, when we implemented SAP, we had a panic whether it will be successful or not, then an entire thing will go wasted. So we know that change is the only constant and others are variables. So in this world, when you in this digitalized world, we will remain far behind if we don't adopt any good solutions which will give us proper and inputs and data in a timely manner. We can't survive. So that mentality has to come into the organization to make it successfully implemented. Yeah, again, then top of that, it's an implementation partner that is also very vital as per me, and zeal to get that implemented. Sometimes we start doing implementation, but down the line we lost track and lost the enthusiasm to implement that. So that is also required. Above all, I think all my co-panelists have covered everything, which I can also add for the sake of repetition only.
Okay. Okay, got it. That's a very nice perspective, but let's talk about the solutions also. Before that, I also want to get a quick sense from Rohit. Rohit, please, what's your sense from the CFOs about the challenges? Yeah.
Okay, from challenges perspective, what I have really faced with many of the CFOs is one is either the data is not ready, first challenge, or the second is either the finance team is not ready or willing to do it, right? To make a very successful project, it has to be from a bottom up approach, right? If the bottom team members have felt, have required, and have made necessary amendments to make it success, then only the project can be successful. If only the top management have leveraged, signed up that entire so-called tool technology, and if the bottom people, right, who is the actual doer, they have not gone through that technology, or they have not enforced that day-to-day activity over that technology, then it becomes a huge cost burden to the company, because they have bought it and now they cannot even let go of that investment, right? So one challenge is that. Second challenge is what I have faced in this rapid expansion, rapid growth. Government keep asking a lot of data, a lot of perspective. Many times I have seen that what data we already have in ERP, little bit, okay, not lot to a very high number, 30, 40%, 20% of that data needs a lot of cleanup, right? For that, what I have seen organization doing is they start from the scratch. Okay, so they have understood, say 10% is my problem of data cleanup activity, whether say invoice number, invoice date, and all that. So they start up looking that problem little before. How is the data entry being done? How that information flows to SAP? They start rectifying that engine. Once the base is cleared, then the entire technology will start showing the benefit. Also, we'll start getting synergy effect when we have a lot of technologies added on the same system. So that's only my two view. Whatever rest panel members have said, absolutely adhere to that, and looking forward for additional solutions on this.
Okay, nice comprehensive view, Rohit, to complete the picture of the challenges. Nanda Kumar, let me come to you for the ways that you deal with this challenges that you spoke about. So of course there are like a raft of challenges, but the challenges that you pointed out, how do you sort of ensure that you overcome those challenges? What's the best way to deal with those challenges?
I think one has to embrace change, because any system coming in is going to change things the way you work. For example, we have a carbon capture plant in Manchester. We've got a factory in the UK. It's a brand new plant with no workers, no employees. It's a massive plant. Nobody's there. So it's a new way of working using IT. Like that, you have to embrace change and communicate beforehand what's going to happen. So number two is in terms of the strategy, you have to align with the IT systems being in place. Both can't be different, okay? Then two would be in terms of invest in digital. I mean, you should spend more if required and not less. So ultimately, the payoffs can be much more than what you're going to spend on. So be open to open your purse on IT. Don't be stingy on IT. IT would, in a long term, pay back several times what it is really initially. So initially, the payback is not so great. But take a bet on it and go ahead and make it work. make it work, make it and use it maximum possible. Because most systems fail because they are not used fully. Buy it, take a bet, use it completely. Then you also have collaboration, which means any tool cannot be a department-led initiative. It has to be a cross-functional team. So have a cross-functional team which is going to work on that tool to make it work, so that every department has got its own, say in the whole, the way it's been built. Focus on data analytics, so that the output is useful to the person who's going to buy the system, for example, here. And in terms of be agile, adaptive, in terms of as you progress, you have to be agile, adaptive. And lastly, you have to, as I mentioned earlier, you have to keep communicating to the teams about how the system is going to work and keep inspiring them to use it. So communication is key. So educating is very important here. So you have to keep it at the users on what it is meant for, and keep the all the programs on, so that they know about the capability throughout the time. Because initially when it's launched, everybody is using it properly. After 2 months, it's gone. So keep the education going throughout the year, throughout many years, so that they keep using it properly. So all these things can ensure that all the tools are, embraced properly. But most importantly, you have to have a transform by adopting change.
Okay, the critical word is embrace change, accept change, and then of course bet on IT, collaboration, communication, and all the stuff that you mentioned.
Yes.
Okay, Mahindra, you mentioned, I remember you specifically mentioned the biggest challenge is mindset. It's very difficult, for any organization or for any team to have similar views in all aspects. So in terms of the, in terms of aligning it, getting their buy-in, how do you deal with such sort of challenge in your team? How do you get a buy-in from, from everyone across, so that the journey becomes smooth when it comes to implementation, getting that buy-in from your team members?
Yeah, it calls for a collaborative approach within your team and across all functions. Because as a CFO, we may our domain is and our expertise is mainly in finance. Yeah, with the experience and our Jill to know more, we may have gain some knowledge about other fields, but still we need a collaborative approach of our other departments. We have to convince them. We have to take them on board and convince them that that the system will work, and then we will have to start. And as a leader of the team, as a CFO, as a leader, we should select the best available team for this work. Sometimes what we do, we give a second hand line of our team to do this work, and then we see that we are nowhere. So we need to allocate a best team forward for this for assignment, so that we don't have to repent later on when the system is ready and we see that we are nowhere and it has become useless. So allocating a best team out of your total organization is most vital for this type of project, in my view.
Okay, that is very crucial and important, I think, from the CFO's lens. And Jyoti, if I can have your quick views, you mentioned, of course, the approach for the customers is very important, that you have it across and have clear vision and clarity. Can you just, share your Brahmastra for dealing with the problems or the challenges, that may come implementing the connected finance ecosystem?
First of all, Manu, there's no Brahmastra. I mean, it's a holistic approach and it's a overall thought process. But my esteemed panelists, other panelists have already contributed much over there, and really not much to say. But what I would request is that to ponder upon is there are a couple of points which are to be seen. First of all, sincerity in approach, whether it is really there, what exactly do you want to do, utilization of the funds properly, that is very much important. Responsibility, taking the onus, taking the responsibility of implementation, or taking the responsibility of putting the whole network in place, and really shouldering all the pain and leading from the front. Third, which is also important, is honesty. That suppose if there's some impediment in front of it, you are facing something which is not working according to plan, be honest with the approach, be honest with the overall challenges, and say that yes, I am taking the responsibility. I am honest enough to acknowledge the negatives. Third, truthfulness to the organization. And fourth, which is also important, is trustworthiness. Whom you are taking into consideration, who are the people are down in the downstream who are really working for you. Be sure that they are trustworthy, and you also appear to them as a trustworthy person, that in case something goes wrong, here is my leader who can take the responsibility of facing the music with the organization. So much at stake. There's one person who will say, yes, I'm shouldering all the pain.
Okay, let me quickly come to Manish, whose ears have been patiently waiting for its turn, for the turn. So Manish, I think you mentioned technology expertise, change management, strategic thinking. So what's your way to deal with things that may not go right?
Actually, the question has already been addressed by all the panelists, but just to add it up, in my view, everything starts from top to down approach instead of bottom to up approach. If the management is clear where we need to reach, and management properly gives the message down the line, and every executive employees are taking the full ownership and responsibility to get it done, they further communicate the message to down the line. And if we involve all the team in together, we take their suggestions, what way they are working, and if we are able to convince them, yes, if this implementation is going to be done, your life is going to be very easy, and organization is going to be benefited a lot, then the things start working. Now coming towards the technical expertise, that's quite okay. It's extremely required. Two things are there. Number one, you should have a proper blend of the employees in that team with technical expertise, as well as for the purpose of the business interpretation. There may be two set of the persons. One is expert in defining the business processes and business decisions, and second team, they are expert in getting the data and in interpreting the data. But both the team should be on the same place in order to come to any conclusion. Otherwise, the decisions may be wrong. So in my opinion, first, after implementing the top to down approach, a proper blend, a proper technical expertise should be available. We can hire some more people with the technical blended with the existing team, and both the team, old team and new team, can work together for this task. So this is how the technical expertise can work, in my opinion. And secondly, rightly said by, I think, Mahendra, mindset is the most important. If the team is ready to accept the challenge and change, then only a successful ecosystem can be developed. Otherwise, very difficult to develop the successful ecosystem. And this is all about from my side. And secondly, use of analytics. Everything will be done once employee is ready to accept the change. If they are convinced, everything will go smooth. There is no problem in that, except some hurdles that can be troubleshooted later on.
Okay. Rohit, a specific question to you here is, from your lens, what are the best technology solutions to create this ecosystem, well-connected finance ecosystem?
Right. See, what I have seen, depending upon multiple organizations, right? Let's start the finance. How it works is two cases, right? One is the sales perspective, and another is a purchase perspective. Wherever we be on the level of hierarchy. Starting on with the purchases, because it's an external document, external dealing with the vendor. First, starting is vendor financing. Okay, as an option, we now have a lot of banks who have come on board, a lot of technology partners, and a lot of platform partners who have come on the plate, wherein whenever your vendor has requested for early payments or given a PO, you have issued a PO, and they can finance that particular amount to the vendor. That's the first start point on the purchases. The next is you get a purchase bill. Now, everybody should be aware right now that government, right, Indian government especially, has the mirror copy of your invoice at different locations. Now I'll tell you why. GSTR 2A has your invoice level summary, like the invoice detail. e-invoice gets the e-invoice validity. Your e-way bill, okay, incoming e-way bill also has the line item details. Now, what are the technologies upcoming right now is there are companies who will do that OCR of that particular invoice, not just an OCR, it will see that invoice number and tag it with your GSTR2A, get the entire invoice detail. If there is an e-way bill, they will get the detail directly from the government portal, right, from the e-way bill data itself. Now, what happens when you use all these technology fronts, right? The entire purchase data starts getting much more cleaner. Okay, there is no, first you avoid manual intervention. Second, you get the single source of truth which is reported to government. Okay, now in that particular invoice, what you also have as a validation is whether the vendor is active, suspended, cancelled, whether the MSME Udyog number what he is giving, is it still valid? He has to submit 6 months return, right? Whether is it still valid or he is just demanding a 45-day payment, right? The third is whether MCA has stuck off that company, yes or no, because we have a specific form in MCA wherein we need to fill all those details. So all those details, there are technologies which can check it at the time of invoice getting punched in the ERP, right? Not even like, so you can avoid up to a 80% manual effort there. 20% still there may be few cases where you don't get e-invoice, where the supplier gives handwritten bill and all that. So you, at a very rough estimate, I'm taking 20%, that can be done. Okay, coming to the next, you have got the invoice, you have verified everything. Before making payment, today's world, okay, every CFO concerned about working capital, so he also checks before making payment whether the supplier has filed the returns or not. Correct? If he files the return, we take the input tax credit. Otherwise, we are not eligible. So what's the best thing is, there are technologies today, before making payment, automatically the system checks the data, whether it's available in 2B, the GSTR 2B, yes or no. If not available, it will block the payment to the aspect of GST amount automatically. And if it's available, then it will not touch that invoice, and invoice will go for a full payment, like 100% paid to that. And post that, the tool will also talk to your 3B return, how much of ITC we need to take. So this is a connected ecosystem from a purchase angle. Coming to a front of sales angle also. Sales angle pretty much clean. I am sure everybody is generating e-invoice today. Okay. Many of the companies today generate say manual e-way bill. Okay, e-invoice will be automated from the ERP. There are cases where you will also generate a manual e-way bill that can also be integrated within your ERP, wherein the depot, like the dispatch person, can key in few details like transporter ID, vehicle number, and they can generate e-way bill. Okay. Now, the next technology is very important. It says auto filing of GSTR1. Okay. So what happens is, there is a team who generates e-invoice. There is a team, IDT team, who actually files the GSTR1. Okay. The sync between these two data already available. So e-invoice data already available in GST system. Now the syncs between your sales register and what is the e-invoice generated, that is also necessary. So take a tool which does the entire comparison. There is an auto feed from your ERP of entire sales register to that tool. It can compare with e-way bill. It can compare with the e-invoice already available, and then give you that your GL is having 100, 90 is available e-invoice, and 10 is not available. So you push only the 10 data to GST system. Little bit stricter on e-invoicing timelines are like, now you have only 7 days to generate e-invoice and all that. So government will keep tightening their efforts. Okay. So government likes, okay, one thing is government goes on a phase by phase approach. Okay. First to 500 crore company, October 1, then they reduce to 100 crore, then they come down to 50 crore, then they come down to 20 crore, then they come down to 10 crores. And now they also bring in private players, IRPs, invoice registry portal, so that the bandwidth can be, distributed. It is not only the NIC which is bearing all the bandwidth, right? So taking on these two subsection now, I will give one small, say only the tip because your experienced CFOs, which we have in the panel and also in the attendees, is take a tool which solves your current challenges. Okay, just list down your current challenges, that these are 3 challenges. Take a tool which solves these 3 challenges, so that, as Manish sir said, that the bottom level people will also understand that it solves my problem, it solves my time, it saves my time. I can put this time to other valuable addition. And the top management is already aware that this tool we need to implement. Okay, so see the challenges. I recommend the tool for sales is which has e-invoice versus sales register reconciliation, which reconciles your GL level data with the GST return. For purchases, I recommend that you please check. You should have a vendor financing model. It should have a automatic feed from GSTR to a e-invoice, e-way bill, so that your data of purchase is cleaned. It should also have an automated payment blocking mechanism based on the to be available data or not from your vendors and all that. So these are few pointers where you can check before getting the technology. Not like single technology will work for all the industries. Please see that if my challenges are getting solved in the best manner, I think that's the technology which we can look forward for some time. So that's on my side from a connected finance ecosystem. Also, I would like to raise one more new technology which is coming on today's era is your vendors and your customers and you are on a single platform in terms of communication. There is no more mail. Mail is just like the old fashioned. Your vendor talks in a particular website to you. They upload the bill in that website. They know the status of that bill in that website. Your procurement team communicates to vendors on the same website. Same happens to the customer. You upload that bill. They are also on the same platform. You upload the bill to them. It gets transferred to their ERP. You know the payment when it will come. You know if there are financing options you can buy, or if you can offer discount, you get an early payment. So that's what like every industry now is working towards.
Okay, that's a very comprehensive and enthusiastic views, solutions shared by Rohit. Before we jump to the other subtopic, does any CFO have something to add here in terms of the solutions? The platform is kind of free. Okay, sure. We have already got a lot of questions. I would again encourage our audience to keep throwing questions. We will certainly take them in the last 10 minutes. We talked about the solutions, we talked about the challenges, but we quickly want to also understand how the partner should be, internal and external supply chain across be aligned best with this ecosystem, connected finance ecosystem. So Manish, what is your what are your thoughts on this? How they can be best connected with this ecosystem?
As far as partners are concerned, Manu, there are 2 kinds of the partners. They may be internal partners, they can be the external partners. And let me tell you one thing very clearly, external partners is not a substitute of internal partners, and vice versa. Both plays equal role for the purpose of the ecosystem. Internal partners are the users or your digital persons who are using the system for the purpose of getting the data, interpreting the data, and putting the data before the management for the purpose of the taking decisions. External partners are the persons who are bringing in some solutions for you, as rightly said by the Rohit, for the purpose of the GST. So many solutions are available, and these all are considered as external partners. So as far as first, let's talk about the internal partners. First of all, internal partners are the part of your team, and first and foremost thing that has to be done is communication and collaboration with the internal partners. The internal partners must understand what are the exactly challenges, what is the organization specific knowledge. They really should have that kind of the knowledge. There are 2 kinds of the knowledge: industry specific, everybody is having through the newspapers and experience, etc., etc. There are certain practices which are followed in the organization itself. So all those things, all those bunch should be known to the internal partners. Number 1, all the internal partners should have a shared objectives and targets. They should know, okay, we are working as a team for what and the common goal, and we are working for the common goal. It should be clear to the all internal partners. Number 3, their roles and responsibilities should be properly defined. And training development is the last part by which we can maintain a good team, the internal partners contributing to the business and contributing to the business growth. Coming towards the external partners, one has to be extremely careful to choose external partners, because number one, sometimes extremely heavy cash flow is involved when you're choosing the partners with the solution. Especially if I talk about as a Amul, we are working on a very low margins, and definitely what we do not accumulate the profits. Whatever profit we used to earn during the financial itself, we used to distribute the profits to the farmers. So in that way, we are extremely choosy, because if I'm investing somewhere in the external partner, number one, I should get the ROI as soon as possible. Number two, as a owners, because farmers are owners, we pay to the farmers, not return on their investment, we pay them their livelihood. So here, number one is there should be a strong relationship between you and your external. By communicating your information, your subject knowledge to the external partner, so that he can provide you the best solution, and in a minimum time ecosystem can be created. Number two, there should be a shared goals and objectives properly defined between the internal and external partners, because whatever solution is to be bring by the external partner has to be tested, has to be accepted not only by the internal partners, also by the business interpreters, because a team which is not very much acquainted with the digital, they should also be comfortable with those external partners. The partnership agreement should be very crucial here. Suppose if a target is achieved or not achieved, there should be milestones of the payments everywhere where it has to be taken care of. Number four, performance management is very important. What objective we are seeking at, whether the external partner with his solution has performed, his solution has performed accordingly or not, it becomes. So for the purpose of partnership is concerned, both the things organization has to take care of carefully for internal and external partners as well. That's all on my side, sir. Thank you.
Okay, that's a beautiful answer. Very comprehensive, well articulated, Manish. I must say that. But before I seek views from the CFO, and then Nandakumar, if I can come to you, any best practices, learnings from your own experience, that you want to share in terms of how you manage to get both the internal or external partners well connected, within the finance ecosystem, the ecosystem that we are discussing about.
So I think you must have one person in finance, one department in finance only on the automation part. So also must have the automation team, one expert who's there, and who is the front runner for all the activity happening in the company is one. And apart from that, I think one has to have a cross-functional team. Very important to have anything to go live properly, successfully happening properly. You must have a team of non-finance guys maximum possible here, so that they drive change. And also the talent required to drive change is important. Otherwise, I say the old team may not be able to drive change properly. So maybe a youngster in the team can drive change. So you don't have to look at hierarchy for any of the IT changes. Look at what is talent, what can it drive change. So you must look at the knowledge of the person, not hierarchy, to put a person in charge of driving change for that system. You can pick and choose each system's right person. Yeah.
Okay, that's very specific again, and Nandu, as always, really appreciate. Mahendra, without adding on to what these speakers have already told, any best practices, learnings from your own experience about embedding or integrating partners in this ecosystem?
Yeah, I think mostly Nandu and Manish has said whatever is required to be said. But one thing I will like to add is that identification of as is and to be is the most vital thing for any implementation. So we must know very, very minutely that what system we have exactly and what we are going to achieve out of this digitization or adapting a tool. And as per our return, because each organizations have their specific requirements and also have their specific budgets also. So they must know that what is they require, what they are going to achieve. That clear-cut identification is very much required, apart from selecting a team, both internal and external, which has been covered by Manish, that is there. So my only point is, takeaway is that identification of as is and to be analysis is the most vital for this.
Okay. We'll come to the last CFO, not the least, very patiently hearing attentive CFO, Indra Jyoti. Please have your comments on this subtopic, please.
My distinguished panelist has already covered most of the point, and I would say borrow it from Rohit, saying 99.99% has been covered. So another point which I can really add over here is, in earlier days, the CFOs was acting in a silo, right? It's like the entire organization saying that, boss, finance or accounts is your headache. That is why you are there. I mean, we are not going to participate in anything. It's your baby. You will have to take care of it. Things have changed down the line. I mean, if you see in the last 5-10 years, much have been done, and after the promulgation of GST, there was an overall acceptance of the fact that tax compliance, any type of financial requirement, any type of government requirements are part and parcel of the organization, and it is not like it is your baby and it is not mine. So the overall mindset of the internal players, as others have said, is quite correct. It has gone through a transformation for the good of the organization. As far as the external people are concerned, yes, I agree. Their participation is also required, very vital. Choosing an external partner is also important from the overall perspective of the business priorities. Just because I have a requirement, I cannot really go ahead and choose any partner.
Okay, so that's where I will sort of throw the floor to the audience questions. We'll quickly take them up. So one of the questions is asked by Ashiram Katta. He's asking about the two big challenges the CFOs think and that need to be resolved. So is it fair to say that perhaps change management and technology expertise could be those two, if we have consensus across the board? Right. Okay. Second, we have Vijay Raj Amin. The question is, how should CFOs manage data from multiple sources? I think this is very important in context of the data analytics and the data that they obtain from various resources, from various sources. So any CFO, I mean, can take this question would be really. Manish, you want to take that, or Mahendra, anyone?
Okay, I take the question. As far as ecosystem is concerned, it's not a matter of finance ecosystem. I'm talking about the business ecosystem where all the functions, all the departments are on the same ecosystem. Then only we can get the data in a proper way. There are two things before getting the data. Number one, all the departments should be on board. Number one. Number two, data should be punched accurately, and all the maximum kind of the data should be punched in the automated manner so that correct data can be captured. Once it is done, it's very easy. I not say very easy, but it's possible to get the data for the purpose of, not only for the purpose of the GST, even for the purpose of the national statistics, whatever ASI is there, they are asking for the so many data. Even for the any kind of the assessment, any kind of the audits and any kind of anything, we can get the data. Number two, there is a not a typical demarcation between the departments. There are some area where the two or more departments are overlapping, and for a particular ecosystem, the overlapping area has to be addressed, because that overlapping area, whatever data is collected, is relevant for finance also and for other department also as well, and for the top management is using particular their data only. So in your ecosystem, if you are having a business ecosystem, all the departments in the function on the ecosystem, they are on board, you are accumulating the data properly. And once data is accumulated, accuracy is there, timeliness is there. Getting the data through a report is a very simple task for any programmer to get it done and to make various dashboards or to make the various reports, etc., etc. So these are the particular ways by which you can get the data for any purpose, not only for GST, for any kind of the purpose.
Okay, Mahindra or Indra Jyoti, I mean, please feel free to add your views or share your views.
I will just add data punching or inputting of data is very important, because garbage in is a garbage out. In my view, data, you should put data in a very correct manner and timely manner, as Manish has pointed out. And there should be a very integrated system, because based on my experience, I have seen, if you ask your team or two members of the team to give a data, they can give you two numbers, even from the same system. So integration of data and unification of data is very, very vital. And that is my view. And and you should have one source or one point of data which should be available to all in a very right manner and in a very correct manner. Then you can use those data in a very fruitful way.
Okay, so this question may be taken up by both Indrajyoti or Nandu. The question is dealing around ensuring data security, and this is by Manoj Swaminathan. He is asking how should CFOs ensure data security in the backdrop of well-connected finance ecosystem, in this backdrop. And also, if I can club the question, a similar question. This is by Anish Shremali. Financial sector, she's asking, financial sector is especially, is rapidly evolving. It is digitization that sets the pace for the other corporates from, when it flows from the banking to the corporates. So how can the security of the customer data be managed properly and effectively? And how the data lake sort of, so to say, will be of help in this case. So Indrajyoti and Nandu, please feel free to share your thoughts.
I'll take it up first, Manu. So I think cybersecurity is very important, Manu, as data shows every 40 seconds you have a cyber attack. That's how much it's happening in the world. Therefore, I'm saying when it comes to CFOs and data, while our core ERPs are safe in terms of attacks, what's my view, but what is not safe is in terms of your all servers kept. If you've got a lot of data on the Excel, Word, on the servers, those servers could be in a third-party location. Those could be at risk. So therefore, I think cyber audit is, so get an audit done by a third-party expert on all systems you have in place. Is every system cyber-proof or not? If not, put adequate controls, invest money, I would say, on cyber. I don't think any amount can be, I'm saying can spend any amount here, but have the cyber, have all your servers safe from any attacks. So even a simple attack can completely stop businesses. So let's say if they have access to your all data of customers and all the suppliers, that data could be also very, very I think, useful in terms of for them. And you could have a lot of cases being put on the company because of cyber theft. So, but therefore get your data secure, have adequate backups available in terms of both offline and online. So I think it's critical that have an audit done, invest money to make it safe, and have adequate backups both at site and off site.
Okay, Indrajyoti, your comments?
Yeah, see, I come from a pharma background. So Apotex is a pharma company. So data security is one of the prime importance for any pharma company, let alone Apotex. What I can say is that, Nandkumar has just said that, yes, you need to have a separate set of audit. What we practice in our organization is, first of all, we have a well-knit, management system in place whereby each and every data whatever are getting captured into the system, into the server, are getting thoroughly checked by the IS department that whether it is aimed for this particular purpose, yes or no, for whoever is creating the data or whoever is managing data. That is point one. Point two, who is permitted to retrieve that particular data. That is also important, that whether I am permitted to go into the system, and just because I am holding a post, am I permitted to go into the system and look into it, that what type of data is there? Is it readable for me? Yes, no. Third, which is also important, is put a system in place whereby each and every server has got a scissable backup in some other locations wherever the main server is located. And now the government the MCA has come up with a clause that each and every server for any foreign company has to have a place in India where you need to maintain all the data from the financial records, and each and every data is to be maintained in that particular country, wherever it is. So India is the chosen country. We need to have a data server over here. Doesn't necessarily mean that in India, the only server is located in XYZ place, and that is the only server. We do not have a mirror. A mirror has to be created so that in case there's any attack, you already have a backup for retrieval.
Okay, but there is one question I am tempted to ask, though we are running short on time. But this is from Manoj Swaminathan. The gentleman is asking, while we are speaking about the success stories of well-connected finance ecosystem, how do we have access to the cases where transformation has failed, why it failed, and the learning? So, if I can ask, Nandu, what is the biggest reason why transformation fails? What you would say?
I think it's a lack of knowledge on what the system can do. That's the main reason why it fails. It's only partly used, which means it's failed. So therefore, adequate, you have to use it completely. So therefore, the answer is knowledge, education very often, and a report going back to the top management that the system is used how much percentage by that department.
Okay, so I think we are coming to an end, but one quick one-liner answers from all the CFOs and the technology leader is what I want to ask, and that is, let me start with Mahendra. One mantra or a key mantra for a CFO who is not yet boarded the transformation ship.
My advice is not to distance oneself from these developments, but to explore and choose the best solution according to its requirement and budget of individual organization. They should explore and get it implemented to meet the changing requirements of the digital world and its organization.
Okay, that's a three-liner answer. I'll certainly take it, and the audience certainly will take it even more. Indrajyoti, your one-liner answer to the key mantra for the CFO's organizations not yet boarded the transformation.
Well, I would say that link your decision to the organizational goal and see to it that the stakeholders are getting really benefited by your goal. Otherwise, it will fall flat.
Otherwise, it will fall flat. Manish, what is your mantra?
Actually, means one mantra is very difficult to describe. I will like to put a quote. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years before, and next best time is today.
Okay, that's, I think, brevity is the soul of wit. Again, in the quote, it says a lot, emphasizes a lot. Nandu, what's your mantra for the organizations yet not boarded the ship?
I think monitor progress and measure success.
And embrace change.
And embrace change, yeah.
Yes. And Rohit, as a technology leader, what is your advice to the organizations yet to come to you, folks like you, to have solutions?
So I will certainly say that I have seen companies who have enriched technologies and companies who have stayed back. Companies who have enriched technologies have developed a more and better core competencies than the companies who have not adopted technology. So that's like any industry you can see, be it FMCG, be it pharma, be it technology. The industry which are doing best always adhere to changes. They are ready to accept change. They are ready to go ahead on technology parameters, thereby improving their core competency. Just for a classic example, I'll just say to what level the today's world and technology are being done today is, you would have heard about company Carlsberg, which manufactures natural beer, right? They have tied up with Microsoft Azure AI just to check the quality of their natural beer, which is going across the world. Okay? And doing that, they have seen this year, the year which just lapsed, they have seen 41% of growth than regular of seeing only 11% growth year on year. So that way, if you start, using technology, your core competencies will be taken care of.
Okay, that's a nice way to put it, Rohit. And once again, I would like to thank our eminent panelists, for this beautiful, sincere, and patient conversation, discussion, and also equally to our patient, beautiful, and sincere audience as well. So thank you so much for your time. It means a lot to us, and please stay tuned to ETCFO for more such engaging, absorbing, and beautiful discussions and conversations. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Manu. Thank you,
Thank
Mahesh.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
Rohit,
Bye, everybody.
Thank
Keep
you.
in touch.
Bye. Take care.
Bye. Okay.